Hey, what's going on, everybody? How's it going? It's your boy True Thought. This is kind of a. Had not really intended to make a video or do a stream tonight. I meant to do this video actually back Sunday, but we had weather coming and all this other kind of gear, so just kind of got a little distracted there. However, there was a question put into the comment section. One of my videos that I done. This is from Ronald Williams. This was about 2 weeks ago, and I just wanted to address this question because this is something particularly for individuals who have families that you do have to kind of deal with, or at least think about when you're making the decision to join the military. Again, the question was between basic and AIT. I'll be gone for 6 months. How did you handle being away from your wife and from your daughter? So, as always, I like to give just some background information if it's for somebody who may be watching this video for the first time. So, I enlisted in the Army National Guard, the Maryland Army National Guard, when I was 34. This is back in 2016. Prior to that, I had been a teacher for 11 years, and I was looking for something different. I actually made a video last week to talk about why I joined at that age. So go check that out so you can kind of see a more detailed video of why I made that decision. But at 34, I decided to join the Maryland Army National Guard. And that's not a very usual decision to make. Normally, for people who are joining the military, whatever branch they are, you're normally between the ages of 17 and up to maybe 17 to 23, I believe is the range that most recruits are when they decide to join or when they decide to enlist or commission into one of the military branches. I was late. I enlisted at 34 years old. And with that came the reality that I was going to be leaving behind, temporarily, obviously, but I was going to be leaving behind my wife and my daughter for a time for basic training as well as AIT. In my other videos, I explained that initially when I brought this up to my wife, the idea of joining the Army National Guard, um, my wife was not a big fan of that. She did not receive that news or that idea with a lot of joy. She did not. She was not very supportive at first. Mainly because of the reason. Mainly the reason was because I was going to be gone and she was going to be left here with to take care of. At that time, I think my daughter was 2 years old. Um, and so we had to have consistent conversations because I really believed in the idea that I had and what that was going to mean for the family. And so I continued to kind of research and show her information, and she continued to pray about it and voice her opinions about it. And we eventually got to the point where she just kind of accepted it, and I went on and went. But I will tell anybody any day. When I got into basic training, obviously I was prepared for really the physical grind that basic training is. If you don't know, basic training does not have built-in rest days, right? So typically, Sunday is a day where you're not really doing much. Like you may go to church or whatever religious service that you opt to go to, and then inside the barracks or in your bay, you may be cleaning and things of that nature. But generally, there's not much rest time. So Monday through Saturday, you're generally doing stuff all day long. It's very physical. But I was kind of prepared for that. I trained up to for about a year before I went to basic training. So physically, I felt like I was prepared for the physical challenge that basic training presented. The hardest part, and I tell this to anybody, the hardest part for me being at basic training and even AIT later was just being apart from my family, so my wife and my daughter. Hey, what's going on, Ronald? I'm making this video for you actually. So this is why I'm here tonight. So I'm glad you jumped on. So you're leaving next month, okay? Um, and I understand. I get it, man. Like I said, that's a legit question. That's a legit worry. So that's actually what I'm kind of talking about right now. Um, and so one of the things that when I first got the basic training is it hit me harder than like it was before I left, it already kind of hit me that I was going to be away from my wife and away from my daughter for the first time. But it hit me harder once I got to basic training because now I'm in a place and I don't have any option to leave. I don't have the option to see them. I don't have the option to call them. I didn't, if something was to happen, I wasn't doing anything about it. So it became a real thing. um, One of the things that you have to keep reminding yourself is that you're doing this for a purpose, for a reason. So my reasoning was to better position our family financially, to move into a different career. Um, and I had to keep those things in the forefront of my mind, Ronald. So when I got to basic training and, phones were gone, letters, in basic training, you do write letters. However, it's not like you're writing a letter today and getting a response tomorrow. No, sometimes you'll write a letter today and you might not get another letter, or you might not receive letters for another week or so. And as the time goes on, that cycle becomes a little bit better, where you start getting more regular correspondences, but it's still not the same, right? You're still away from your family. um, you have to keep in your mind why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing. So Ronald, whatever the reason is that you're deciding to join uh, the army, or whatever branch you're deciding to join, keep that in the forefront of your mind at all times. There were absolutely times when I looked around and I was like, man, I'm just too old for this. Again, not because I was unable to keep up physically, but really because going through an army basic training and also the AIT experience, you see that is really geared towards a younger soldier. It's geared towards a younger generation. Um, and as a grown man, that can be a mental challenge also, because you almost feel like you're being insulted, because you've lived most of your life doing what you wanted to do because you're a grown man, and now you're in a situation where you've kind of lost that. You're not treated in that same way. um and so I want you to keep that thing in mind. Keep your why in mind. Is it bettering yourself? Is it helping you to move your family into a better situation? If so, then that has to be your motivating factor, right? So keep that in mind. So make sure again you're selling this vision to your family. Hey, no, daddy has to go away. I'll be gone for a total of 6 months. And you have to also remind yourself too that in the grand scheme of things, 6 months is really not that long of a time when you look at the longevity of your life, right? So you have to remind yourself that, when I was in basic training, I was like, okay, this sucks. Like, I'm going through some times that it just really sucks. However, this can only go on for 10 weeks. And then at the end of 10 weeks, it's over. So there's a definite end period for basic training. And it's the same thing when you get to AIT. You go to AIT, I see you want to be, you're trying to get a technician job, federal technician job. Got you. So yeah, so you're joining the Texas Army National Guard. It's good stuff. There's a whole lot of Texas guardsmen floating around in basic training AIT. Texas is well represented there. Um, but yeah, so if that's your goal, if your goal is to get a federal technician job, that sounds like you're looking for a career that's going to provide you more money, that's going to put your family in a better position. And so that has to be the reason that you keep in the forefront of your mind, because there will absolutely be times when you're just looking around saying, uh, enough of this. I miss my family. No, I'm ready to go home. And there are people in my cycle who made that decision. There are people in my cycle who read letters, and missed their families to the point where they decided to no longer be trainers, right, or no longer not be trainees. Excuse me. They decided to quit and stop training, and they went home. Now, I hope that their lives are fine. I hope that everything worked out good. But I do know that when it was all said and done, some of them regretted it. They ended up having to stay till no almost to the end of our cycle, and a few of them actually expressed regret that they didn't stick with it and finish it to the end. They kind of let their emotions in the moment make them make a decision that impacted their life long term. And so just kind of keep that in mind when you're going through. It's okay. It's only for a certain amount of time. Your basic training is 10 weeks and you're done. Your AIT is, I'm assuming, about 3 months, 3 or 4 months, and then you're done, right? When you get to AIT, one of the cool things is that depending on how your company and how your battalion do things, there may be opportunities for your family to actually come out and visit you. When you get to AIT, there's usually a phasing period. So you get there, you're in black phase, then there's gold phase, and then green phase. And then black phase is more restrictive, meaning that you can't go off post, you can't really go a lot of places. You have to stay on post and with your battle, but your family can still come out and visit you, and see you on those days off, like Saturday and Sunday if you don't have CQ duty. Um, and then as you go up in phases from black, gold to green, your privileges expand, and the amount of things that you can do expand. Um, so keep that in mind also, that while in basic training you might be completely shut off from your wife and your kids. After that basic training time is over, AIT is much more, or less, or I should say, is much less restricted than basic training. And now you actually can have more interaction. So you can call and FaceTime, and they can come out and visit you. If you happen to be there, you say you're leaving in what, next month, so you won't be there for Christmas holiday block leave, but in the summertime though, like your kids will be out of school. So your family could hop on the plane, or hop in the car and get to where you are, and come see you for the weekend, so you can spend some time with them on part of a Saturday, part of a Sunday, and that way you can actually reconnect with your family. But it is a challenge, mentally going through basic training, being away from your wife and kids. And that for me was the hardest thing that I had to deal with. I had to deal with it constantly. And I had to remind myself, I'm here for a reason. I didn't come here to fail. I'm not going to give up on this vision that I have to better myself and better my family. Um, and as much as it sucks for these 10 weeks that I'm here, it's only 10 weeks. And in the grand scheme of things, 10 weeks is a short, small time compared to the rest of my life. So I hope that this information. Oh, let me go back real quick too. So in basic training, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're writing letters. And you want to write multiple letters a night. So like I probably would write within a night maybe three different letters, um, for my family, and I would put them in the mailbox at different times, so that way they would arrive to my family at different times. So that way it kind of created a little more constant communication between me and my wife. So instead of just writing one letter and putting it in the mail and having to wait for a while, I would write maybe three or four letters, and then every day or every couple of days I'll put them in the mail. So that way, when she got them, it was more of a constant thing for her to get them, and then when she would send them back, she would send me multiples. So that way, I was getting more correspondence back from my family throughout basic training. So those are kind of, you want to figure out how the mailing system works in your company, so that way you can kind of uh, create that sense of constant communication. So I hope wish you good luck in your endeavors, in getting that federal technician job. I believe you'll be successful. You're 28 years old, so you have the maturity to do it, to make it through. Again, you have the wife and the kids, so you have a reason why. So just keep that in mind when you're dealing with all the stuff from your drill sergeants and stuff within your platoon, and all those intercompany dynamics. Um, Even when you get to AIT, when the rules don't make sense, because they're not going to make sense, especially for you being 28 years old. You've been out in the world and you've had your freedom. So the rules are not always going to make sense. And the Army being the Army, there's always some foolishness to deal with. But keep in your mind, you have your why, you have your mission, you have your vision. And as long as you do that, you'll be fine. And once it's over, you'll look back at that time and you'll see it as a small amount of time, as opposed to, when you're in it, it kind of seems a lot longer. Like for me, I enlisted in January of 2016. I actually shipped out the basic training, um, September of 2016. And then I got to AIT. So I didn't see my family again until obviously family day and graduation day. And then I was under the impression that I was actually going to go home for Thanksgiving because we graduated. I think it was like November. It was like November 16th or 17th, something like that, somewhere around there. And so I was under the impression that I was actually going to go home for Thanksgiving, and that was the last thing that I was told by my drill sergeants. And I had already written a letter to my wife, letting her know that hey, I'll be coming home with you guys after the graduation. And so, we were looking forward to spending time with each other during Thanksgiving holidays before I had to report out to Fort Huachuca. And probably 2 weeks before graduation is when they came and let us know that anybody who had AIT west of the Mississippi, obviously I was going to be going to Huachuca in Arizona. Um, so anybody who had AIT west of the Mississippi, that we would be leaving to go to AIT the day after graduation day. And because it was so close to the time, sorry, end time and basic training, they didn't allow us to send any letters home, any correspondence home to let our loved ones know. So my wife and my kid and my daughter and my family, my mother and father also came down. Hey, thanks a lot, Adam. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate. I'm glad that you're enjoying these. Yeah, my wife and my daughter came home. I mean, I came home. They came down to Fort Jackson family day, expecting me to be going home with them the next day after graduation. And I had to let her. That was the first thing I told my wife as soon as she came and got me out of the formation. I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way, before we did anything else. I said, "I'm sorry, but I am not going to be able to come home with you like we thought tomorrow. I have to go immediately to Fort Huachuca for AIT." And she was obviously disappointed. My daughter was extremely disappointed. I was very disappointed. I was actually pretty angry also because I felt like they should have allowed us to at least communicate some kind of way to our parent. I mean, to our family. Um, but that didn't happen, right? So I mean, I had that situation there where that happened, and then like I said, the next day I was off to Huachuca, and I spent Thanksgiving, essentially, eating and in the defect for at Huachuca, and kind of by myself because I didn't really know. Oh, that's not true. I wasn't completely by myself. I did have a friend out there who was also in the army, who was going through AIT as well. So that's not completely true. But essentially, I wasn't with my family for Thanksgiving like I thought I was. All those things you got to push through, persevere through, and realize that your goal is bigger than that small time stamp, right? Like that's a time stamp essentially. Your time in basic training and AIT is a short time span. So for you, Ronald, you're going to be gone for 6 months total. Again, that's a small time stamp in your larger lifespan, so to speak. So hopefully that helps you out as far as kind of dealing with being away from your family. There's nothing I can say to you that's going to make you feel better about being away from your family because it's your family. These are the people you love, your wife and your kids, and you're used to being around them, and you're used to them seeing you. Um, One of the things you also want to do, I will say, is make sure you want to have. I don't know how old your kids are, but talk to your kids, let them know what you're doing, let them know how long you're going to be gone and why you're going to be gone, so that way they're kind of prepared for it. My daughter was 2 when I left. Um, I obviously, we told her that I was going to be gone, but she didn't really grasp the magnitude of it. So in her mind, it probably was something like Daddy's going to go away for a couple days and then be back. She didn't have the capacity at the time to really process how long I was going to be gone. I was gone, like I said, from September up until September of 2016. I didn't come back home um, until January of 2018. Thankfully for me, because I was out there for so long, my family was able to eventually move out with me, but that didn't happen until like June or July of 2017. So, for about from September until about from September 2016 until July or June of 2017, I was not living with my family. And they finally, they were able to move out there because I was there for so long. And then we stayed out there until, like I said, it was like January 2018 when I eventually came back home. So hopefully that helps out. Adam, thank you for the encouragement as well. I appreciate it. I'm glad that this is helping you. I don't know what your situation is. I don't know if you are. I can't remember actually. Are you Adam? Are you supposed to be shipping out too, or are you just kind of in the in the you're just kind of fishing or not fishing, but you're kind of thinking about maybe enlisting later on. I can't remember. But hit me up in the comments. Let me know what's good. So Ronald, again, if you're still on, hopefully that was encouraging to you, and anybody else who was watching. So yeah, so that's really all I have. So got you. Okay, so you submitted your MEPS your MEPS pre-screen. Okay, okay, yeah, MEPS is a beast also. Going through MEPS, you don't need to like. I don't want any like specifics, but do you have like medical issues that you're having to deal with right now? Um, or oh, you got okay, got you. So that's interesting. Okay, got you. All right. So yeah, so keep on. If you're if you're still trying to do it, then sometimes there are definitely waivers that you can submit, um, especially when the army is like in need of personnel. And sometimes they'll make a little bit more concessions for people. But hopefully, again, if it's something that you want to do, hopefully you get a chance to do that. Chills, are you in the military yourself, or are you prior service? Um, I see you on here. You will need a waiver. Have you? So have you? So it's all good. Like I said, you can definitely get a waiver. Have When was the last time you spoke um with a recruiter? Because again, uh no, sometimes some recruiters are able to kind of help you out with that better than others. Some recruiters, I'll say this: some recruiters are highly motivated to get people in, get personnel in, and some recruiters are not very highly motivated. So um, it's it is what it is. You know what I mean? So it is. So yeah. All right, chills. Okay, so you're in the army. All right, cool, man. Yeah, yeah. So I am still enlisted. I actually just got promoted. This has been about 3 weeks ago. I just got promoted to sergeant E5, after kind of languishing in the E4 land for a while. So I started off in the National Guard, and I have nothing. I really don't have anything bad to say about the Guard for the most part. And well, let me rephrase that. I don't have anything bad to say. There's just some realistic things about the Guard. Um, but one of the realistic things about the Guard is that if your state is small, then your promotions are slow. And so, I was in the unit. And we had a bunch of specialists, but we just didn't have any billets really to promote all of us. So the promotions were really slow. I switched from the National Guard and switched over to the Army Reserves. And since I've been there, it's a lot easier to get promoted, just because the billets they're not state specific. They're federally specific. So no, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So yeah. Um, so well, never mind, Chills. So I got you. So are you enlisted as well, Chills, or are you commissioned, warrant? Now, my goals are to go warrant one day, just because I enjoy my job and I want to just kind of be a SME at it. So it is, and that is correct, Adam. Yeah, tuition assistance is better in the National Guard, but man, it's tuition assistance in tuition. Well, yeah, I'll say tuition assistance is probably better in the National Guard. But if it's something where you're thinking about, like for me, I'm thinking about doing this for 20 years, just doing a whole 20 years in the Army. Career wise, um, it's harder to get promoted in the Guard than it is in the reserves. And like I said, it's simply because Guard promotions are determined based on the state. So what the state has, what the state needs. In my state, essentially, you had to wait for somebody to retire or die, before the next person above you got moved up to create that space for you. So it just and also depends on leadership. If you have really good leadership, oftentimes they can find ways. If not, they can't get you promoted, they can get you into schools and things of that nature. If you don't have good leadership, then none of those things comes available to you. So far in the reserves, I've experienced really good leadership as well as lots of opportunities to grow in my career, and to grow in leadership, to grow on my knowledge base, my skill set, all that kind of good stuff. Uh, so that's just my 2 cents on the difference. All right, shows you're a PFC. Okay, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up, man. How long have you been in? Uh, I see Adam. Here we go. I'm just gonna put you guys. I'm throw your comments up there. Right, your PFC. Yeah, Ronald. I see you. So I'm glad that this helps. It is hard, man. I like I said, there's really no easy way of saying it, or not even easy. But there's really nothing that anybody can say that's going to make it easier. As far as missing your family, like that's just a natural thing. You're just going to miss your family because you're just used to being there. You're used to being there with them, and you're not going to be able to be there with them like you want, right? You're not going to be able to, touch your kids and touch your wife, like you're used to. You're not going to know when what's happening. So somebody gets hurt, you're not going to know it until after it happens. Much no much later after it happens, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it really. You have to tell yourself, I'm here for a reason, and I'm only here for a set time, and then I'm moving on to the next thing. And ultimately, this is going to benefit. This is going to benefit my family and my life. Oh, you're shipping in February too? I just saw that. You're shipping in February 22nd. So do you know where you're it doesn't matter where you're going at this point. Wherever you go, it's gonna be cold. Do you Yeah, so Ronald, where are you shipping to? Do you know if you're going to Jackson or Leonard Wood, or Benning, or something else? Because I mean, like if you go anywhere you go again, it's gonna be cold in February. But I think what is it? Fort Leonard. I've heard like Fort Leonard gets they have like the extreme weather out there where it gets really cold in the wintertime, and then in the summertime it's really hot, super hot in the summertime. So you're leaving when wintertime kind of hits the whole country. It kind of hits all the basic training places in the army. So yeah, good luck to you on that as well. So that's gonna have you have to motivate yourself through that cold weather also. Uh, let me say here we got the Army Reserves was short in recruiting. What do you mean? What do you mean by that, Adam? You mean like there's not that many recruiters? Um, okay, chill. So you joined in. Oh, so you joined last year. All right, October 2020. Well, welcome to the force, man. Welcome to the Army. Hopefully, so what's your experience been like so far since you've been in? Um, have you enjoyed it? Has it been beneficial to your life? Uh, can you kind of see yourself doing this for 20 years, or is it something that you think you might just do for one contract and then be out? Yeah, Adam. So here's the thing too. You got to think about when you're thinking about uh, the reserves and active duty. It's all about what you're really looking for. So again, at this point in my life, I was, I mean, I had considered going active duty. I think going through AIT though, and just kind of getting a better understanding of of uh, of how the army works kind of like made me glad that I didn't go active duty at 34. And really because at 34, generally speaking, somebody who's been in the army at 34, they're nearing retirement. So really all of my contemporaries age-wise um would have been, well, no, much higher than me, as far as ranking is concerned. So I really wouldn't be able to interact with them. And like I said, they would be looking at retirement. The people that I would be around mostly were going to be younger people. So, I was an E4 when I enlisted. So I was going to be around your 18, like 19, no, well, mainly your, let's say you're 18 up to, no, to 24-year-olds. And so I was like, is that really the environment that I want to be in 24/7? And I was like, after I got there and I saw that, I was like, yeah, no, it's not really, that's not really what I want to do. So I'm glad I did go reserves, mainly because in the reserves, that dynamic is different. In the reserves, there are a lot of 30-year-old 30-year-old plus 30-year-old plus E5s, and E6s. So like you kind of find yourself still with amongst my contemporaries age wise, um, within my rank, right? So it kind of works out that way. And like I said, I was really doing it to kind of help transition my career in the civilian world, and which is what I was able to do. Ironically, going to Fort Jackson. So Fort Jackson is, like I said, it's still going to be cold. Like at this in February, I think that it's just going to be cold all over the place, but not nearly as cold as Fort Leonard was. So that's a good one. I went to Fort Jackson in September. When I got there, it was pretty hot, but it wasn't nowhere nearly as hot as it was in the summertime. And I think that by like our fourth or fifth week, we started getting the cool down. So it was really just like mild temperatures. And I don't really remember too much rain. Like we had a hurricane come through, um, and down on Fort Jackson, and that was probably for like a day or two. That was the most rain I experienced the whole time I was there. And then towards the end of my time there, it was November, so it started getting cold. But not again, nothing like unbearable. So you're shipping off in February. It's gonna be cold in Jackson, but like I said, it's not gonna be nearly as cold as it's gonna be in Fort Leonard Wood. So you're going to Fort Eustis, so you'll be in Virginia. So you're staying south. Okay, so that's actually not bad. That's not bad. Fort Eustis is in Virginia, like that, going towards, I believe it's like going towards the Hampton area of Virginia. So it's not that bad out there. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah. So okay. So really, to to change your MOS, so if you want to reclass, there's some, what you want to do is you want to go up your chain of command, chills. Talk to whoever your platoon sergeant is, um, and let them know that you do want to reclass. Now that sometimes that will depend on how much time you have on your left on your contract. So like if you're, let's say for example, this year is the last year of your contract, then before they put in paperwork for you for you to reclass, they may ask you to, or they may require you to extend, or sign another contract. And it also will depend too on the needs of your unit. So let's say if you're like in the unit I was in, when I first came over to the reserves, they were looking to fill billets for a particular MOS, and so anybody who was new and was coming in, they were trying to push you to reclass to that MOS. Um, and then there were others where they may not want you to get out of, because they need those billets. So check with your chain of command to see, number one, if they have the the billets that for another MOS. Um, and then also see, check with your chain of command to see what those requirements are. Are they going to ask you to extend your contract, to sign a new contract, or will they just go ahead and put in that paperwork? Because generally speaking, unless they need your MOS, like if they have a high need for your MOS, then they're probably not going to let you reclass until you get to until your contract runs out. And then when your contract is getting coming to the end, because they want to keep you, oftentimes they'll give you that'll become your opportunity to negotiate, um, going to school so you can reclass. But if your MOS is not like in high demand in your unit, then talk to your chain of command, and it really shouldn't be that difficult for them to put in the paperwork to send you off to school. So start with your platoon sergeant, or your squad leader, whichever however your unit is organized. Yeah, Ronald. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, cold is gonna be difficult for you, but again, remember, it's only for a few weeks. You'll be done. And they're going to issue you a lot of things. They'll issue you your uniforms. They'll issue you your silks. They'll issue you your waffle top and bottom. Now I'm not sure if they're going to let you wear them, because sometimes drill sergeants can be just pain in the butts like that. But just grit your teeth. You're not suffering on your own. There are other people who are suffering as well, along with you. So you just suffer together. And you'll be just fine. And when you're finished, you'll have a good story, you have some good memories, and you'll feel proud of the fact that you made it through and that you're moving on to the next phase of your plan. So you'll be all right, man. South Texas, I know it doesn't get cold, but like I said, you're going to South Carolina, so Fort Jackson, it's not the coldest. But yeah, I understand that's gonna be a adjustment for you, but you can handle it. Yeah, so Adam, I don't normally talk about my MOS online. It's just not good practice for the MOS that I have. Um, so yeah, so that's I don't want to be I'm not trying to be rude to you or anything like that. That's just something I've never talked about it in my videos either. Just because it's just not good practice to do. So that's the only reason why I'm not saying it now. So no disrespect to you, and I don't hopefully you don't take it as disrespectful. 'Cause I don't mean it that way. But it's just something I just don't talk about over online. Let's see what we got here. Aren't billets more a Coast Guard or Navy term? No, not really. It can be no, no, not really. I mean, so when you're filling promotion, a promotion spot is we call it a billet as well. Um, so yeah, anytime you're getting promoted, like I got promoted, I was in E4 sitting in an E6 billet. When I got promoted to E5, I had to leave my unit and they sent me to another unit so I can fill the E5 billet. So that's not a problem. It's no problem at all. See what you got here. Thank you. My squad leader said, yeah. So yeah, so it sounds like are you close? Is your contract close to being to ending? Um, but I guess yeah. I mean, that's not. I mean, that's not the worst thing. Yeah. So that's not. I won't. That's not unusual. So yeah. So talk to retention and like I said, they'll tell you whether or not they're able to get you into another MOS, another school, so you can do that. Because again, it really shouldn't be that hard. It really isn't that hard, especially if you're in the reserves. Um, the reserves has federal. They're funded by the federal government, right? So all the reserve money comes from the federal government, which means that your unit will generally have what it needs to send soldiers off to get training, whether it's for reclassing or whether it's for an additional skill or a higher level skill. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. What we got here? Am I concerned about getting deployed? So concerned isn't really the word. Like that's just kind of a reality. I was almost deployed. Not that well. I was up for deployment a couple of months ago. Um, and the only reason why I didn't get put on that deployment was because we had some volunteers who jumped in, and so they kind of pushed me down the list. But yeah, I was actually up for deployment just maybe 2 months ago. So that's just a part of the deal. Like, if when you join any military branch, whether it's active duty reserves, or one of the reserve components, you're still even in the reserve component, you're still in the military. And since 9/11, the National Guard the National Guard and Reserves have been on rotations with the active duty, um, in order to help supplement the needs of the army, the needs of the branch. So if you sign up for the military, you may not want to deploy, but understand that that's part of the deal. So they're going to give you the training. They're going to give you, they're going to give you, you're going to get the benefits. Payment for those benefits is that you might be called to go on deployment, and you just have to deal with that. Like, you know what? Not ideal situation, but it is a situation because again, I'm in the military. So concerned about it, not really concerned. I know it's gonna happen. Like I said, it almost happened a couple of months ago. So I know that's coming down the pipe, and that's fine. That's completely okay. So I'm assuming you're chills. I'm assuming you're talking about you're nowhere close to. Oh, that's right. Yeah, 'cause you say you just enlisted last year. Yeah, 2020. So yeah, you're brand new. you're brand new on the in your MOS. So let's see, you've been in for a little over a year now. So you should have that should be enough time for you to reclass. Like I said, it really shouldn't have any issues getting you reclassed. Quite honestly, so you should be fine. Like I said, talk the squad leader said, talk to retention, see if they have available for you, and then go ahead and do your thing. And like I said, I think that you'll find what you want. Now, here's the other caveat. If you know, obviously, as you already know, all the MOSs require certain ASVAB scores. So if there's a job that you want that requires a higher ASVAB, don't hesitate to retake the ASVAB. Like study for it, obviously, but don't hesitate. If you think I don't know what your ASVAB score was before, well, when you first enlisted, but whatever it was, um, if you don't think it's high enough, I would encourage you to just take some time, study, retake the ASVAB to get a higher score. They're going to keep the highest score. That's going to be the score that's on your record. So that way, there are just more options available to you when you're looking to reclass. Yeah, yeah. I know you trained to deploy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And that's also obviously that's also pretty good. From where I am, I know the training happens actually not too far from where I am, so that actually works out in my favor. I see what you got here. So I'm torn between going after a technician position through the guard or getting a conditional release to go active duty to get maximum benefits and guaranteed paycheck. Okay, well that's definitely a decision to make. So when I was in AIT, I think I know of two soldiers who did the very same thing. I think they were, I can't remember if they were guard or reserves. Either one, they were a reserve component of the army, and they decided while they were in AIT that they didn't want to be in the reserve component, but they wanted to go active duty, um, and they did so, and they were successful. It lengthened the time they were in AIT just because of the army. I don't think any of the branches are really good at like processing paperwork very fast. Um, but that's definitely a decision that they made, and hopefully, no, hopefully it's something that worked for them. But I think again, you have to do what's best for you. So if you're thinking that going active duty is the best thing for you and your family, because it'll get the benefits immediately, and it will get you a steady paycheck. You're not looking for a job after AIT, then do so. Again, I don't know how long you're enlisting for, Ronald. Um, so like I enlisted for 3 years. My first contract was only 3 years. So by the time I finished AIT, I was already halfway through my contract. So I kind of had some leeway, or when it came to figuring out what I wanted to do, as far as what my next move was going to be, because I was so close to my to the end of my contract. But yeah, that's not an uncommon move. Ronald, there are some people who do that. They enlist in the reserves in the guard, and then they get in there like, what, I think I want to keep this going. I want to stay. I want to do this full time, and it works out fine. But that's going to be up to your unit. So if you are I think you're Texas National Guard, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or I maybe getting you and Adam confused? Let me go back and look at these. You are. I don't know if I see it on here right now, but I thought yeah, I thought you said you're a Texas National Guard. So if you're going Texas National Guard, then the only way that can be done is that your guard unit would have to release you. They would have to be willing to release you in order for you to go active duty. If the guard unit does not want to release you, um, then you're not going to be able to go active duty. So before you enlist, if you're still thinking about going active duty, then you may want to make that decision before you actually go in and swear in. Because once you swear into to any of the branches, whether it's active duty, guard, or reserves, then now you're theirs. You belong to them. So before you actually swear in, you still have the power to determine what you're going to do. Once you swear in, that power becomes a little bit less, and that that branch now kind of has all the power. So just kind of think about that as well. Um, if you've already enlisted, then yeah, you may have to wait until you get to AIT. So I think that's what the people at my AIT did too, who switched over to active duty. I think they waited till they got to AIT, and then they started talking to the platoon sergeants and the first sergeant, and then they kind of started talking. They started kind of going through the back channels towards the guard unit to kind of figure out how they could get them out of how they can get the guard to release them, and then how they can get the active duty army to pick them up. So let's keep that in mind. But again, it's not a bad thought. Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, so the one you want, your ASAP score meets it. That's good. I'll look at it in a good way now that you say that. Okay, good. That's good stuff. Yeah, so if your ASVAB score that you currently have already meets what you need for the MOS that you want to get into, then yeah, absolutely pursue it. You still have time on your contract, so I don't know if you signed a 4 or 6, but either way, you have at least 3 or 5 years left in your contract, so that's more than enough to for them to process you to reclass because you have time in your contract. So it really shouldn't be that big of a deal. Again, the only thing that would make it a big deal is if that unit just absolutely needs your MOS. And if they just absolutely need your MOS and don't have enough of it or don't have enough people into it, then it may be a little more difficult. But good luck to you, Chills. Good luck to you too, Ronald. And whatever decision you decide to make. Let's see here. Did you look at other reserve branches? Yeah, so I only looked at the Army. In fact, well, yeah. Let me rephrase. I didn't just look at the Army because I looked at the Guard, and then going looking up the Guard, I saw there's an Army National Guard and there's an Air National Guard. Like I said, I was 34 years old, so the Air Force is not known for taking older people into its ranks, and by older I mean like once you hit like 27, I think it gets a little sketchy as far as entering into the Air Force. I didn't look at the Marine Reserves or the Navy Reserves. Um, the draw for me to the Army Reserves was that you get to pick your MOS based on your ASVAB score. So again, it's a little more. There's a little more control. So whatever you score in your ASVAB, you get to choose what's available of the MOSs that are available um, for you based on that ASVAB score. I like that. And the Marines, I don't think they do that. I think the Marines actually choose your MOS for you. I'm not sure about the Navy. I've heard that the Air Force also chooses it for you, but they kind of let you put some options there. So I just like the idea of having that control. Give me 1 second, fellas. Like, give me 5 seconds. All right, I'm back. That was apologize. So I didn't. No, I didn't actually. I didn't seriously consider anybody else. I didn't seriously consider any other um, reserve branches. I just kind of strictly went Army. So, and I'm happy I did that. I'm actually happy with my choice. So I hope that tonight was helpful to everyone. So, Ronald, again, good luck to you as you get ready to ship off the basic training very soon. Again, while you're in it, it's going to be like I said, while you're there, it seems like it's a lot, but trust me, or it seems like a long time, but trust me, it's not as long as it seems. Josh Brown, what's going on? You're 34. You're going to active duty. Oh, wrong one. Going active duty, Air Force, security force. Okay, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. Anytime I go on, like we have a few air bases, Air Force bases around where I live, and so anytime I go on those air bases, me and some of my other Army coworkers always kind of joke that the Special Forces guys they just seem so happy with their careers and so satisfied with their branch choice. So yeah, so good luck to you, man. 34, that's what's up. So they let so okay, so you're 34, you're going to active duty Air Force. So did you have to do any kind of age waiver for the Air Force, or is the or has the Air Force's age requirements? Do they include 30? Does it go up to 35 like the Army? So I was under the impression that Air Force age requirements were younger than the Army. That I think that they stopped at like 39. What is that a new thing? 39 in the Navy and in the Air Force? Really? Oh, come on. I feel like that's so. Hold on. So 39 in the is that so? Do you know if that's a more recent development? Because I know for sure. Well, I know that there was a time where like the Marines and the Air Force had very they had younger age standards. Like the Army was always the one that was kind of like just accepting everybody. Um, I didn't realize it was 39 years old. That's crazy. So wow, that's I had no idea. No idea. That's insane. But okay. Well, congratulations, Josh. So it's been I think for about 2 years. Okay, so it's more recent. It's a more recent development. Okay, cool. That's what I was wondering. Because I was like, I remember traditionally speaking, the Air Force doesn't accept the older ones. The Army is the one who accepts the older ones. I'm not sure about the Navy. I've never really known about the Navy's age requirements. That's good stuff, man. Josh? When are you shipping out? Um, for I think you guys call it BMT, right? I think the Air Force calls it BMT. I can't remember what the M stands for. But when are you shipping out for BMT? So I see Adam. I see you, Adam. He says been that way for a while. I don't know. I will. Yeah, Josh has said it's only been that way for about 2 years for the Air Force. Maybe for the Navy though. I don't know. I'm not like I said. I'm not really up on the age requirements now for all the other branches. Um, so yeah. So hit me up. So what's yeah, Josh? Let me know when are you heading out for BMT? And are you excited about it? Uh, is this something that you've always kind of wanted to do? Since you're going at 34, is it kind of something that you're looking to, just a change of pace in your life? So I'm always interested to hear from other people who are my age. Like I said, I was 34 also, Josh, when I joined the Army National Guard. So um, welcome to being. This is like it's interesting because when you're 34, you don't see yourself as being old. But once you get into a basic training or a BMT a BMT environment where everybody is super young, like 17 to 24, you start to feel old, and to everybody you look old. Like I remember that was the first time my whole life, like my entire life, I was told that I looked young for my age. So I was always like, oh yeah, you look, when I was 27, I was not people said I looked like I was 22 or 20. Like I was just really, really, really young looking. Got into my 30s, it was still the same thing. Like people thought I was like in my 20s still. I got the basic training and they were like, dog, you look old. What are you doing here? And I started looking at like all the other soldiers that were with me in basic training, and I was like, dog, this is the first time I've ever looked and felt old because you're just around these super baby faced, like I said, kids who are fresh out of high school. And I was like, this is I've never experienced that before in my life until then. Like ever since then, I've just felt I think I felt my age ever since then. Thanks to the army and the young people I was around. So you just took the ASVAB. Now you're waiting for a MEP state. Okay, okay, so that's good. That's good. Hopefully you got what you wanted on the ASVAB. Um, and MEPS, like I said, MEPS sucks. I can't even lie. MEPS really does suck. It's an all day thing. Um, and you're just going from like one station to another, but it really is like an introduction to the military idea of hurry up and wait. So it's pretty nice. It's an all day thing, and it can be very annoying, but it's necessary. So it is what it is. Yeah, and that's a good reason. Sometimes like I said, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know for me, um, I had just kind of reached my limit. Like I was a teacher for 11 years, and I just didn't see myself going anywhere else in education. I didn't want to be a principal. I didn't want to be a guidance counselor. But I knew I didn't want to be stuck in the classroom my whole life. And so same thing, I just kind of use it for a reset and to get to a new career. And that's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah, no, I don't mean did you get the score you need to get in. I mean, did you get the score you needed to get the MOS that you're looking for? So, like I said, in the Army, you if you want a certain MOS, you got to get a certain ASVAB score to qualify for it. So I was wondering, did you get the ASVAB score you were looking for to qualify for the MOS that you were looking for? Or actually, I didn't. I don't. I have no idea either. Or does the Air Force allow you to choose an MOS? Do they choose it for you based on that ASVAB score? And here we go at Ronald. I joined the same reason, Josh, as a father with children and almost 30 years. The current inconsistent oil field life I've been living isn't right for us, and we just yeah. All right, that's respect. That's respect, Ronald. That's respect. Like, that's sometimes that's what you need to do. And I'll say this too. It's very it's not an easy decision to make, right? I mean, just completely uprooting your life, doing something completely different than what you've been doing. Um, it is not an easy decision to make, but it's an honorable decision to make. So a lot of people are too afraid to really make that switch. They see that their life isn't going in the direction they want to go into, but they but a lot of people, and I understand why, because like I said, it's not easy. A lot of people just kind of settle into it, and so good for you and Josh, on making that decision. In your 30s, and for you, Ronald, close to your 30s, to make that decision to go ahead and change. That's what's up. Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, yeah, they do. I guess that is always a need, right? So that's what's up. I'm glad you got what you wanted, and you should be off to a happy career. So we got here from Adam. AFCS or AFSC is harder to get the job you want. Air Force Reserves and I guess that's, I'm assuming, Air National Guard. You do choose your job. Okay, got you. All right, that's good. That's good to know. I had no idea. No idea. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that gives you a lot more flexibility, Josh, when you're not when you don't have the kids and you're not married. You just kind of do, you kind of make those decisions, and those decisions really just affect you. So that's good. And it's good that you're making these decisions prior to that happening in your life. Like, if anything, if I could do anything over again, I would have made this decision before I got married, before I had kids, because just emotionally it's just easier, right? You leave and you got kids, you got a wife, you got a life that you've kind of built up, that it can weigh on you emotionally, because it affects everybody. Like, my wife then had to. My wife was in the middle. She was a teacher herself, and she was also in the middle of getting her master's degree. And our daughter was 2 years old, and she was going to have to navigate all that by herself because I wasn't going to be able to do anything. So it was a huge adjustment for her, and she had to take on a lot by herself based on my decision. And like I said, then my daughter didn't fully understand or grasp the concept that I was going to be gone for so long. And so while initially she was cool with it or okay, but there were times when my wife tells me that there were times when she was just like, "Where is he?" Like, and, no, emotionally, she kind of, she had some outbursts here and there as well. So it affected her also. So, when you don't have the family, those decisions don't only affect you, but when you do have the family, again, it's a little more at stake, or not, I shouldn't say at stake, but the stakes are just a little bit higher. And, like I said, it just kind of affects everybody. So it's what it is. But that's what's up. All right, Chills, I see you. How was BLC for you? BLC was cool. BLC was different though. So I did BLC last, was it January? I think it was January of 2020. Yeah, January 2020. And so, no, no, not January 2020, February 2020. And so we were like right in the beginnings. Oh, 2020. What did I say? 2020? Sorry, let me take that back. 2021 is when I did that. And so we were like right in the we were in the throes of COVID. So that year we actually had a virtual BLC. So I thought that we were going to report to BLC and then possibly just be in the barracks for the whole time. But they decided to let us stay home, and we just did BLC. They had a platform that we were able to use. We did BLC from home. So it takes away from the experience. And there are some things we weren't able to do because you can only do those things in person. But overall, it's really not that bad. You're learning how to be an NCO. You're learning, how to, do reports and how to do counselings, and you're learning, leadership and things of that nature. So, you're learning how to do movements and move soldiers from place to place. So all that stuff is necessary. It wasn't bad at all. It wasn't too bad at all. Everyone knows the Air Force has the best quality of life. That's those are facts. Like I said, we talk about that. So at my job, of my, let's say, 5 coworkers, 4 of us are Army. Either we're in the reserves or we're former active duty. And then there's one who's former active duty Air Force, and he's now uh, an Air Force reservist. And we talk about that all the time. When we talk about, like, we tell him our experiences with the Army, he tells us his experiences with the Air Force. When I tell you, it is completely different. The culture completely different. You're right. The quality of life is just completely different. In fact, when an air in some on some army post, when an airman is stationed on army post, the airman actually gets like extra pay. It's like almost like a hazard pay almost. It's very interesting. Um, so it's a completely different culture, and that's the same for like all the branches, all right. When you look at the branches, I think if all the branches, the Marines probably have the worst quality of life because they have the fewest bases, and oftentimes they're just no. And the Marines they're really are part of the Navy, so they don't get all the money that the other branches get. So they have probably the worst quality of life, but the highest level of pride of all the branches. And then you just kind of go up. Let's see what we got here. DLC and BLC, is that the same? That's the same thing, right? Yeah. So yeah, I believe so. So BLC used to have a different name. Actually, let me take that back. I don't know. No. So DLC might be something different, actually. Now you say that. Now you're asking that. So BLC is what you need to go from E4 to E5. It's that training that you get from E4 to E5. It used to be called BNOC. Um, DLC, that actually might be the next. I think that's actually the next school up. So when you want to go from E5 to E6, if I'm not mistaken. They've changed the names of these things so many times, but yeah. Um, and if yeah, I think so BOC is what you need to go from E4 to E5. DLC, actually, when I think about it, no, DLC might be the correspondence training actually. So they just did a switch too. So they used to have what was called SSD1, and SSD1 is like your online training that you needed to complete in addition to going to BLC before you can get promoted from E4 to E5. DLC is that new correspondence education. So it's the new online education that you need to do before you go off to. I'm forgetting the name right now of the school. So you do that plus the school that you need to go from E5 to E6. So it's like I said, we've changed names of things so often you sometimes just forget what you were referring to. What you got here, Josh? Yeah. So there's a guy I work with who is he's an Air Force reservist, and he used to be in the Army. He used to be in the Army, and he's actually in the unit that I'm going to now. And he said he tells me all the time. He's like, again, lifestyle wise, quality of life wise, even like career development wise, he's like the Air Force is way better when it comes to that because their leaders actually care about your career progression and how it's affecting you. Whereas the Army can at times be just very like, do your job, push through whatever, push through whatever that you're going through personally, and do your job. So no, it is. Yeah, chills. It's all good, man. You can yeah, I said I got a little bit more time. Well, it's 10:14. I didn't realize it's 10:14. Yep. It's all good. I'll be on again. I'll try to make this a regular thing, and I need to actually set a date for like when I want to do these things on a regular basis. Um, so let's do this. I'm gonna do one every I'm gonna try to do one every Sunday. And I'll say every Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. No, let me rephrase that. 8:30 p.m. because that's when my daughter goes to sleep. So 8:30 p.m. on Sunday, I'll try to do another stream. Hopefully, see you guys in there. Best of luck if I don't see some of you, like Ronald. Best of luck. 'Cause I know you're getting ready to go off to basic training. So best of luck to you. Josh, same thing. Whenever you're going, best of luck to you. Do your thing. Adam, hopefully you're able to get that waiver uh, that you need in order to get in. Chills, thanks for coming in. Again, hopefully you're able to get that. You're able to reclass like you want to, and get that MOS that you want. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys coming through. God bless y'all, and see you guys on Sunday at 8:30. All right, take care. Oh, don't forget to subscribe. I forget. I always forget to say that. Don't forget to subscribe and share it too. Let your friends know about the channel and subscribe. All right, y'all take care. Bye bye.